Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing lesson 7-8, finding rules for comparing fractions. We're going to be looking at ordering fractions that have the same numerator, and we're going to write a rule for ordering similar sets of fractions. You're going to need your math journal, a pencil, the home link paper, and there's another paper that comes right before the home link that you'll want because we'll be filling that out as well. Let's go ahead and open up our math journals to page 238, and we're going to be working through this page together. Steve is sorting the number sides of his fraction cards into two groups, fractions greater than 1/2 and fractions less than 1/2. This is really similar to the lesson that we did yesterday. He made a mistake somewhere in here. So if we look at these, we see that on this side we have fractions greater than 1/2, and then over here fractions less than 1/2. I want you to go ahead and look through and find where Steve made a mistake. Go ahead and pause the video to find where he made a mistake. All right, hopefully you found that the spot he made a mistake in was in the fractions greater than 1/2 side. There's one of them in there that is not greater than 1/2, and hopefully you found it right here. 3/8 is not greater than 1/2. So it says, what mistake did he make? You can go ahead and explain that. And then it says, use your fraction number line poster, fraction strips, fraction circles, or fraction cards to help you. I want to talk to you guys about the fraction number line poster. I have shown that to you in some of the other videos. Normally we would have that hanging up in the classroom and you could reference that. Normally you would have your own set of fraction circles. Maybe you have a set of fraction strips. But on the back of the home link for today, home link 7-8, there is a fraction number line kind of poster. So that might be helpful for you to be looking at throughout this lesson. It's page 251 on the bottom right-hand corner, but it's on the back side of the home link for today. So that might be helpful for you. So I want you to figure out, why is this one a mistake? And then it says show or explain how you decided. Maybe you go ahead and you draw two circles. Maybe in one of the circles you show what 1/2 looks like, and then maybe over here you divide it up into those 8 pieces and you shade in 3 out of those 8, and maybe that could prove that it is definitely not greater than 1/2 but less than 1/2. And then it says, with a partner, think about a rule that Steve could use to check whether a fraction is greater than 1/2 or less than 1/2. I want to go ahead and look at these fractions with you. Let's look at greater than 1/2. I want you to look at the numerator. Remember, that's the top number, and then the denominator, that's the bottom number. When you look at those, I want you to look at the differences between the fractions on the left side over here and the fractions on the right side. We see on the left side that the numerator is greater than the denominator, just like on the right side, but we can also tell that it's closer to the denominator, so we know that it's over half of the denominator. It would be 1/2 if it was 2/4, but because it's 3/4, we know that it's greater than 1/2. Over here, when we see 1/4, we know that that's less than 1/2 because half would be 2/4. So maybe that could help you think about how to check if a fraction is greater than 1/2 or less than 1/2. Let's go ahead and move on to the next page that we're going to work on. And that's going to be the page that's in with your home links. It's probably a blue colored page. And this is going to be where we spend most of our time today. And it says, for each problem, you may use any of your fraction tools to help. Fraction circles, strips, or the number line poster, or fraction cards. I would really recommend this number line poster, which is on the back of your home link. And you need to think about all of those fractions there. you'll see that all of those fractions have the same numerator, the top number. The part that's different is the denominator. And you need to write the fractions in order from least to greatest. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to think about, of those fractions, they're all one something, which one would give you the biggest piece, and that's going to be your greatest over here. And then which one's going to give you the smallest piece, and that's going to go over here. So least over here, greatest over here. Try to write those in order. And then it says, what patterns do you notice? How are these fractions the same? I talked about that. Something about the numerator. How are they different? Then in number 2, we have the same kind of problem. And you'll notice that the numerator is 2 this time, but the denominator, they're all different just like before. You're going to put them in order from least to greatest. Remember, least means what's going to be the smallest fraction, and greatest is what's the biggest fraction. What patterns do you notice? How are these fractions the same or different? So this might take you a little bit of time. You might want to talk about it with someone else that's in your house, and I will talk to you about it in just a little bit. So go ahead and work on this page and we'll talk together. All right, I'm going to go over the first one with you. The fraction that is the least in this order is going to be the smallest one, and that's going to be 1/10, because it's cut up into 10 pieces and we're only talking about 1. So I'll take that one out. The next one is going to be 1/8, because it's just a few less pieces there. And then we're going to go 1/6, 1/5, 1/4, 1/3, and 1/2. Now, when you look at these, you might be thinking, oh, but there's 10. Why is that one the smallest? Well, because you are cutting up a pizza into 10 pieces and you are sharing it with 10 people. If you only get one of those 10 pieces, it's going to be kind of small. If you have the 1/2, you are thinking about sharing an entire pizza with 2 people and you get one of those pieces. Well, 1/2 is much bigger than 1/10. So on the rest of the page, fractions are similar because they have the same numerator. They're different because they have different denominators. Same kind of thing going on in number 2. Let's go on to the back side of this paper. Yours has lines, mine does not. All right, it says write a rule for ordering fractions that have the same numerator. We talked a little bit about this, but I want you to be thinking about, if you have a 10 as a denominator, what does that mean? If you have a 2 as a denominator, what does that mean? Think about what kind of rule could you write for how to order fractions that have the same numerator but a different denominator. Go ahead and do your best work on this that you can right now, and then go ahead and push pause and continue on when you're ready to go over the math boxes for today. All right, math boxes today are page 239. And for number 1, I'm not super worried. You guys have practiced that a lot. Number 2, circle names for 30. So that's a heads up that there's probably going to be 2. And then number 3, you're writing comparison symbols in there to make each number sentence true. Remember, if the big part of the mouth is open towards a fraction, it means that it's the greater fraction. And then we have over here 15 minutes earlier than the time on the clock. So I would go ahead and try to figure out what time is it on the clock. And then we want to know 15 minutes earlier. And we also want to know 15 minutes later. And both of those are referencing the time on the clock. So figure that out first, and then you can figure out your two problems there. For number 5, think about your answers for problem 3. How do you know whether a fraction is greater than 1/2? And this ties into the lesson that we talked about today. So we know it's greater than 1/2 in what way? All right, for homework today, it is a double-sided page. We're really just going to be focusing on the front side, but the back side will also be helpful. So go ahead and grab your home link 7-8, and we're going to go over that together. It says, look at the fractions below and sort them into two groups, fractions less than 1 and fractions greater than 1. Use the number lines on the following page to help you. And then you have all these fractions here. Instead of being less than 1/2 and greater than 1/2, it's less than 1 whole, greater than 1 whole. So you're going to look through here and you're going to put the fractions in the right spots. And then at the bottom it says look for a pattern in the fractions that you sorted. Describe the pattern that can help you decide whether a fraction is less than 1 or greater than 1. So you're kind of looking for kind of like what you came up with before as far as a rule for knowing how to order them. This time you're coming up with a rule for knowing if it's going to be less than 1 whole or greater than 1 whole. And remember, on the back side of this home link, all right, this is the back side of the home link today. This is the one that has the different fraction number lines on it. This can be really helpful as you're trying to figure out the rules for the different activities that you're working on. This will help you identify different patterns as you sort the fractions. Good luck today.